Hello, my dear children. How is everything? Hope everything is going well. What did we learn in the previous class? Yes, I introduced you a new poem. Am I right? What's the title of the poem? Yes, very good. Song of the Flower. Who's the author of the poem? Yes, Khalil Gibran is the author of the poem. In the previous class, I recited the poem for you. And we discussed some new words and their meanings. Am I right? Now I'll recite the poem once more and I'll explain it. All of you listen carefully. I'm a kind word uttered and repeated by the voice of nature. I'm a star fallen from the blue tent upon the green carpet. I'm the daughter of the elements with whom winter conceived. To whom spring gave birth, I was reared in the lap of summer and I slept in the bed of autumn. At dawn, I unite with the breeze to announce the coming of light. At eventide, I join the birds in bidding light farewell. The plains are decorated with my beautiful colors, and air is scented with my fragrance. As I embrace slumber, the eyes of night watch over me, and as I awaken, I stare at the sun, which is the only eye of the day. I drink dew for wine and hearken to the voices of the birds and dance to the rhythmic swaying of the grass. I'm the lover's gift, I'm the wedding wreath, I'm the memory of a moment of happiness. I'm the last gift of the living to the dead. I'm a part of joy and a part of sorrow. But I look up high to see only the light and never look down to see my shadow. This is wisdom which man must learn. Students, hope you all enjoyed the recitation of the poem. Am I right? Now I'll give you the explanation of each stanza. All of you listen carefully, okay? Students, first of all, I'll explain the first stanza. In the first stanza of this piece, the speaker begins by describing itself not as a person of any particular type, but as a kind word uttered and repeated by the voice of nature. From this first line, if one does not take the title into consideration, it is a misery as to what exactly the speaker is embodying. This being who is narrating the poem is a force produced by nature, the epitome of nature's goodness as felt by any who enter into a landscape. This kind force they embody is repeated over and over by nature and spread throughout the world. The next lines confront the reader with a second depiction of what exactly the speaker is. The lines state that the speaker is a moment, a star which has fallen from the sky and landed upon the green carpet. This force is similar to the one mentioned in the first lines as it is also beautiful, powerful, and intangible. In the next I am statement, the speaker is described as the daughter who has been conceived by the elements. The following sections go line by line to depict the birth of the speaker, stating that the force was reared by summer and slept in the bed of autumn. This being, who is not defined in any concrete way, aside from being associated with nature, seems to come from time itself. It has been nurtured by the natural changes of the world and therefore made into the being it is today. Now, all of you look at the second stanza. In the second stanza of Song of the Flower, which is only made out of 4 lines, the speaker goes into more detail regarding the ways of its life. At the beginning of the day, this being unite with the breeze. It bears a portion of the responsibility in bringing about the day and announce that the dark is receding and light is coming. These two lines bring to mind all the symbols with which one might associate the beginning of a new day, from the sound of birds to the growing warmth of the air. It is likely that a reader should be coming to a greater understanding of what exactly is being spoken about. These are all the characteristics of a flower. The speaker describes how in the evening at eventide he joins the birds and together they bid the light farewell. Students, now all of you look the third stanza. In the third stanza, which is only 3 lines, the descriptions continue and expand to discuss how the speaker as a flower or flowers is spread out over the plain. Its being is used as decoration for the plains of the world. It can also be sensed in the air. The fragrance of flowers is everywhere. Now let's move on to the fourth stanza. The fourth stanza speaks on the fact that this essence of the flower is watched over by night while it slumbers. Then, when the day comes, it stares at the sun. Now, all of you look the fifth stanza. In the next 3 lines of Song of the Flower, the poem begins to come to its conclusion. The speaker continues to give more details about its life and states that it drinks dew for wine and is drawn to the voices of the birds. It is easy to imagine the life of a flower through these words. The poet is complexly personifying the life of flowers in an elegant and beautiful way. It is seen as being something untouched by the true darkness of the world. It lives in a world of light and peace. Students, now all of you look the sixth stanza. In the sixth stanza, which provides the best example of repetition in the poem, the poet puts forward 4 I am statements that define the force of the flower's life further. It is through these lines that a reader who does not acknowledge the title of the poem will fully understand what element of nature is being described. The speaker states that, like a flower, it is the gift of a lover and a part of the wedding wreath. It is also the memory of a moment of happiness. One can keep a flower in memory of happier times, but also as a gift to the dead. Flowers symbolize a wide range of emotions and occasions. The last line of this stanza states that the flower is a part of joy and a part of sorrow. Students, shall we move on to the last stanza? In the final stanza of the poem, the speaker concludes by solidifying the fact that a flower never sees anything other than the light. Its forms actually keeps this from being a possibility, as it never looks down to see its shadow. The last line adds a deeper level of meaning to the entire piece, as the speaker, still talking as an embodied flower, states that humankind should learn from its wisdom. One should never look down but remain perpetually optimistic. Students, hope you all understood the explanation of each stanza. Am I right? Students, in the next class, I'll ask you some questions based on this poem and we will go through some activities in this poem. So all of you recite this poem and we will meet in the next class with the continuation of this poem. Thank you, dear children.